Hi there everyone, hope you're well. My name is Dash and welcome back to my channel. I am currently in Lombok, Indonesia. I was previously living in Bali for the past 4 months and decided to come here. So what I've decided to do in this video is just answer a lot of questions I get from a lot of people who are just curious about this digital nomad life I'm living, obviously running an online business and being able to explore and travel the world and what, I guess, the ups, the downs, and just kind of update you with why I decided to come to Lombok versus Bali in the sense as well. So what I'm loving about this place, and I will make sure I show you the view that I'm getting right now. It's just a lot more chilled, a lot more quiet. Bali was just very overstimulating, especially when it comes to Canggu. It's just gotten very, very busy, more so probably in the past few years, probably post-COVID, and the traffic is just insane. So I've got a few friends who have been living here, and they've been just saying like it's quiet, it's a bit more relaxed. So I decided to come here in April and absolutely fell in love with it. The roads are just open, the people are just so kind. The gyms are not as good as Bali, I have to say, but they're getting there. It's developing. First time I came here was back in 2015, which is crazy to think 10 years ago, but it's changed so much. So I just know that things will start coming and falling into place. But honestly, the beaches are beautiful, and I felt like I'm just being a lot more productive here. I'm walking everywhere and just got myself in a really good routine. Looking back at the 4 months I was in Bali, it's not the first time I've kind of lived for that long. I've previously 8 months and 6 months as well. So I've gone there a few times, but I've just noticed sleep hasn't been the best. I mean, I could probably put it down to the roosters there. Holy shit, those roosters, something. So yeah, if you're going there expecting a good night's sleep, just make sure you got no roosters around, all right? And so yeah, I've just being here, I'm getting such good sleep and really finding myself being a bit more productive. So the common things I get is, especially when it comes to what I'm missing and what Bali gave that Lombok doesn't have, it's definitely the community side of things. Don't get me wrong, I've got my friends here as well, but the gym I was at, which was called Nirvana, very much a community-driven place. It just makes sense why they're doing so well. But I think that's one of the things that I will miss. And again, the previous times I came to Bali were very, very different. My lifestyle was very different, drinking, smoking, partying, very different career as well as an optometrist, working the 9 to 5. So all this is, I'm just kind of having to remind myself, oh, this is how it is now for me. And obviously very, very grateful and being able to pick where I want to live. And so the key things I guess I'm looking for are community, but also that because as an introvert, I have the mix between the introvert and extrovert at times, but I tend to look at my calendar, I always look for space for me. And I find that with Bali, there's always something happening, and it's easy you can say no, but obviously you always that fear of missing out. So the days just go a lot quicker. Here, I feel a lot more slow, a bit more calm, but again, I feel like I've got that creative element back, which I felt like I'd lost for a while. I've always kind of just chased and trying to look for time in my day. I guess I've been able to cut back, walk everywhere, and just being able to just create again. So very, very happy. Another question I get asked is like, is there anything I miss from my previous lifestyle? And I can honestly say, like, even though like it's been over 2 years now, I've stopped drinking, and I won't say it's the drinking side of things I miss. It's being in environments where there's good music, good people. I mean, I say good people, of course, people I care about. It's just more of a sense of I wish like there was like a place that there's really good music, people are dancing, having fun. I'm not getting people repeating their story 5 times in within a space of 10 minutes. And yeah, just looking for a space where that exists, because being from the UK, we have such good music. And I just remember like when I was in the clubs or bars, those were the things that I just loved, being able to dance, being able to just be where people are just feeling a bit relaxed and but without that stimulant that was required, right? So yeah, that's definitely something I would say I've missed. But again, very, very grateful to be here. So another question I get asked is, what does my day look like? And so I'm going to tell you what's happening now versus what was in Bali. And so here I get up about 5:30. And at the moment, I'm just exploring walking again. I just miss it. I mean, I know I want to walk as much as possible because in Bali, I was having to go on the Stairmaster a lot, which is great. But again, I just love being able to just walk around. So here, 5:30, I try and get to the gym just around 6 o'clock, and because it's about a 20-minute walk, so at least I can just get my steps in. And if I have chunk of a time to just get a bit of breathing in the morning, I'll do so as well, just to set myself up for the day. And yeah, I'll train. I usually give myself about 2 hours to get a bit of a good warm up in, solid workout, and which I'll talk about my training schedule at the moment as well. And then as soon as I finish training, have my coffee, loving my coffee. So I train completely fasted, and I won't have lunch until about. I'll have a protein shake after my session, but I won't have lunch till about 1:30. So that will just consist of, just making sure I get my proteins in, but it's relatively clean. And then dinner will be around about 7:30, depending on how hungry I am. I try and give myself a window, but as long as it's before 8. And I'm in bed by like 9:30, latest 10 o'clock. So I'm getting good sleep at the moment. But yeah, my days do just consist of just kind of going to the gym, working from there, from the co-working space, and then go back home for food, and then probably coming out and probably eating out somewhere like the gym I'm at, or just kind of exploring all these different restaurants. But obviously being mindful, I don't tend to eat too much local food, as I just don't want to get sick, because I'm hearing loads of stories of people getting sick and dodgy stomachs. Touch wood, I'm just trying to make the right choices. That's all I can say. So now we're going to talk about the business side of things. So as I mentioned as well, that I've only been running my online business for about 2 years now, and I'll be very honest, was very slow at the start, and because I just didn't know how to market myself, I didn't know who I was going to be working with. Was it everyone's like talking about niche and all that stuff? I was like, what the hell do I don't know who I'm going to work with. Like I'm happy to just accept anyone, and I luckily managed to have like, a couple of my one of my face-to-face clients who just kind of managed to stay on with me for a little bit. But at the time, I was only using very simple Google Sheets at the time. And but then I eventually went to an app which has made things a lot easier for me. So I guess when it comes to how I'm running things right now, I'm putting a lot of work in now. I guess I'm working every day. People go, "Oh yeah, you work on like online, it must be very easy." But I'm honestly working a lot right now, which obviously I'm hoping to that will change over time. And but the main thing is obviously I'm just communicating with my clients a lot. If there's anything they need to adjust, I make sure I do that. But my weeks kind of consist of, program writing, checking ins, video calls, obviously creating content for things like Instagram. And that's what mainly the bulk of what I do is. And of course within there I'm trying to find time to do some research, learn new things, explore different modalities, and of course have some level of social life in there as well, which is tough. And because you can very easily get absorbed into just work, which especially me anyway. And so I guess when it comes to the systems I'm trying, which is the next question, is trying to organize my time. Going, okay, the main things I need to do is obviously program writing, the check-ins, the video call. So I actually was doing a lot of face-to-face calls on Google Meets, but now moving to a more of a video check-in form. So they just record themselves, and then I can get back to that way. I can actually look at my schedule and go, okay, I can just do this task right here, rather than obviously just people booking in at different times and then my day kind of going according to that. This way I have a bit more control of my day. So that's something I'm trying out at the moment. And when it comes to my day, I guess when it comes to the training side of things, I try and get my workouts done first thing. That way, as soon as I'm done, which is usually about 8:30, is when I can start just checking in with clients. Of course, just I have a few in Australia and few in Asia, like in Asia as well, so I can check in with them first. And obviously my UK clients, I can check in with them a little bit later. But I tend to try and get everything done. The daily check-ins just done in the morning. People are asking as well, how do I keep my clients engaged whilst moving around as well? I think it's just understanding that they're humans, right? They don't want to just talk about fitness, nutrition, habits all the time. Of course, I'm like wondering what they're up to in their day, and just the humans. They've got other stuff going on other than, I mean, I'm obsessed about training, but they aren't. They obviously want to look after their health. But I think that's a really, the way I approach it is just understanding that, it's a relationship at the end of the day. I want to make sure they're okay having a good day, whatever they if they've got meals out and stuff, they can tell me. We can work around those things as well. It isn't, hey, have you hit your calories? Have you trained? It isn't that. I mean, that's involved, of course, but there is that element of keeping the programs interesting month by month. That way they've got something to look forward to, and but also understanding that they've got a life outside of training and eating well as well. So that's the way I definitely keep them engaged in that sense. How do I manage content creation, check-ins, and lead generation on my own? So this is, I guess, a tough one, but I think it all just comes down to time management. There are times where I get very overwhelmed. I'm like, oh, I've got this, and this, but honestly, I look back at it and go, I just got to manage my time a little bit better. So what I'm exploring now, a system I'm using, is actually using my Google Calendar and allotting times to the day. So I plan my day before, but making sure I've got chunks of time where I'm going, okay, now it's planning content, now it's checking in with clients. Because if I'm just doing everything everywhere, my focus is just being shifted from one thing to another. And honestly, it gets quite overwhelming. I've had that in the past. And what I've come to realize is by blocking times out for me to be able to contact people, creating content, doing my calls, and of course, my training time and time for me, it has just made things so much easier, and I can actually breathe for a second. What tools and workflows are helping you stay productive? Again, that is the biggest change I've made more so recently is Google Calendar and actually blocking out time, and obviously being realistic, having a time at the end of just going, if there's anything you couldn't quite finish off, you can finish off in a time later on. Biggest ones that probably the longest for me are definitely content creation. I guess there's that element of like creative block and just being kind of distracted with what other people are doing, and just kind of just staying true to what works for me, how I feel like I can best share my journey and I guess my voice and my approach, and being unique in that sense. So yeah, Google Calendars, or even if it's just a written calendar, whatever it is, plan your time. Time management can go a very, very long way to be productive. One thing I forgot to mention regarding businesses, I wouldn't be here, sorry, if I hadn't taken a good about 6 months of really focusing in on my business. Last year I was in Doha, and the intention of that was purely focus. I didn't have any friends. I didn't know anyone in there because my sister lives there, but she was away for 3 months, which meant I was just by myself in the country. My best friend was a cat at the time, and because I was looking after a cat, but it allowed me to just go, hey, we've got to make this work. And so I tried to remove as many distractions as possible. And it was lonely. I'll be very, very honest. It was lonely. But I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that lonely chapter, where I was kind of trying to figure out how it will work. I changed things up in my business, and I went from a kind of a upfront cost to a monthly reoccurring, and that helped me just making sure finances were coming in. And of course, I was just getting more clear with some sort of messaging on social media, which I guess resonated with the audience I'm working with right now. So yeah, a lot has changed, but I do feel that if you're keen to start an online business, there's got to be some level of work going into this. There's got to be some level of time and focus, and it's gonna be challenging, but through that challenge you'll learn a lot about yourself. So now let's move on to the training side of things. So I get a lot of questions of going, hey Dash, what do you train? And I'm honestly, I don't know what I'm training myself as a, is it calisthenics, is it weights, is it mobility? It's honestly, I'm doing what I enjoy, what I feel is going to be helpful for me in the future whilst having a little bit of fun. I'm looking at the strength side of things. I'm looking at the flexibility side of things, but I'm also looking at just making sure I'm having fun during those movements as well. I guess when it comes to the calisthenics, it's fun because there's a lot of skills involved, like handstand push-ups, there's planche, there's front levers. All those things require a bit of patience, but also there's a lot of failing as well. But I like that because allows you to do something that the body wasn't once able to do, but now can. And of course, that's the same when it comes to the weight side of things. But you know, with the weights, I find that you're just doing the same movement, just heavier. Whereas, for example, handstand push-ups, you don't just go, okay, I'm going to do a handstand push-up and just do more of them. No, you have to start with the pike push-ups, so the very basics, and then you build up to elevate it. And that's what I like. There's progressions involved in order for you to actually be able to do this skill. What my training routine looks like right now, as I mentioned, I'm up early. I like to get my training done first thing, and I'm currently training mainly 4 to 5 times a week. I say 4 to 5 because I mainly train 4 days of strength. So Monday will be upper body, and I'll talk you through what I'm doing in these as well. Monday upper body, Tuesday legs, Wednesday again upper body, and Thursday rest, Friday upper body. Saturday is the fifth day where it's more like accessory work. I look at where the weak links in my body and using that time to just kind of rest a little bit, because I've done the whole training every single day, trying to expect some progress and just realizing it was doing more harm than good. I wasn't progressing as much. I'm training less and I'm progressing more now. I've kind of come away from that whole wanting to aesthetically look good. Of course, it's still important to me to look good, but that's the byproduct of the way I'm training right now. My main focuses for skills are the handstand push-up and the press to handstand. And the reason I'm not just focusing on those two, because one, I feel like they probably require the most patience. And not to say the other skills don't, but I'm just working on those so I can just fully focus and giving all my attention on the time in the time I have. Once I master them, then I can move on to the next skills. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm doing handstand push-ups in all of those and press handstand in all of those. Legs, heavy lifting of obviously squats, you got your deadlifts. And when it comes to the other strength side of things on my upper body, I'm mainly focusing on overhead press for shoulders and pull-ups and dips. That is pretty much it. Accessory days are where I focus on like the biceps, triceps, and of course, every day I'm working on some level of core and mobility. But yeah, again, and it also allows me to, on my rest days, if I want to go for a run, I go for a run as well, because I'm in Lombok and I can actually run outside, which I'm so happy about. A question I get asked is, how's my training changed over the years? And I can honestly say I was very much driven by just building a lot of muscle. But what that did was I lost the ability to actually just move freely. So I'm paying the price for it now. I realize my shoulders are quite tight, but they've improved so much. And now I'm looking at what's tight. What do I need to do to loosen it? What do I need to do to strengthen the shoulders? Because I've had multiple injuries to my shoulders. It's just because I wasn't training properly. I was really much just going full steam ahead, barely resting, no warm up, no stretching, and it just caused a lot of issues going there. So as I came to Nirvana 2023, I then explored yoga, went to India to go explore Ashtanga, which I got crazy flexible because my hamstrings were crazy tight. I couldn't touch my toes, and that allowed me to just get very, very flexible. Mobility has helped me just open up my shoulders, and of course, working towards my side splits as well. But yeah, I just feel like I'm just less tight, less rigid, because I'm including mobility in my training. Because the way I look at it is 50, 60 years from now, I'm not going to be worried about the amount of weight I'm pushing. It's more of, I want to make sure I've got good muscle mass. I can move freely and I'm independent in that sense. I do not want to be relying on people pushing me around and not being able to just pick shit up, or being able to struggle to walk or sit down and get up from the floor. No, fuck that. I want to be able to move freely, run when I want to, lift when I want to, and do some cool shit. That's the goal. So I'm just switch things up for more of a longer term plan. So now talking about nutrition, a lot of people ask, hey, what do you eat? And I'll be very honest, I eat a lot. And not of a sense of like a lot of crap food. I try to eat very simple, very similar things every day, but majority of it, I'm very much focusing on the protein. You're going to be hearing loads of people talking about protein, but I would probably approach it that 80-20 rule. 80% is coming from whole foods, 20% is coming from the like some sort of processor. When I say that, it's like protein powders basically. So I train fasted, but the first thing I have after it is a protein shake, whether it's just with water or a really good trick is having it with a frozen banana with some ice. That's great. It just makes it a little bit thick and it tastes amazing. But I have 2 scoops of protein powder in my protein shake every day. And but yeah, that just allows me to hit about 50 grams post workout. My body is craving it. It's going, hey, it wants it. So it's just a really great way to, because everything, it's like almost like your body's just ready for it, right? It's easy for it to, easy to digest, and it goes straight for all the right places after a workout. Second meal, I'll have about 1:30. So I do tend to have a big gap between training, obviously my protein shake, which is just around 8:30, 9-ish, and then lunch about 1:30, which will consist of probably some eggs, with about 4 eggs, some chicken breasts, and some vegetables. Very, as you can see, barely any carbs there as well. And but depending on how my training has gone that day. If I've gone very, very heavy and I feel like I'm just kind of running on low, I will have some carbs in that lunch as well. And dinner is quite flexible at the moment. I tend to, right now in Lombok, I'm eating out a little bit more, but again, I'm finding the places that have things like whole chickens, and I really just focus on that protein, try and get as much protein as possible, and that last meal will have some level of carbs. So whether it's just baked potato, it'll be sweet potato or even some bread in there as well. I mean, I'm Indian, we love our carbs, but I do make sure I save majority of my carbs for that last meal, especially just because it allows you to refuel for the day coming, especially if I've got a big heavy session the day after. It just allows me to have some energy in the morning because, like I said, I train fasted. I need something to keep me going. I mean, some people don't like training fasted, and that's perfectly fine. The way I look at it is when I'm training, it's the meal after, it's almost like a reward. It's almost like that discipline of going, no, I'm going to train first, then I can have some food. So I like it that way. And of course, like I'm not going to be here and going, yeah, you got to eat clean all the time. I'm a burger kind of guy. If I had to pick between pizza and burger, burger all the way for sure. But again, I'll probably have a double patty to make sure I get my protein in, and I try and opt for sweet potato on the side as well. So I still try and make some good choices there. And obviously, if there's an Indian place around as well, I'm going for it for sure. But here, I'm not cooking as much versus when I was in Bali, but I'll always try and make some level of high protein dish, but add some spices, man. You gotta have some spice. Gotta have some chili in there as well. Garlic for sure. Anyways, I digress. But that's basically it. I'm running you through why I've decided to come to Lombok, and I need to show you this view in a second. Honestly, it's absolutely beautiful. And the comparison between Bali and Lombok, what's different about here, what I've managed to achieve with just slowing down a little bit more. Actually, no, I don't like that word slowing down. Just being a bit more aware of my time, just being a bit more productive with where I'm allocating my time by time management. One thing I've come to learn is that just saying no is okay. You know, things will happen, but it's okay to say no. So I need to show you this view now. My legs are dead from sitting cross-legged, but look at this. Let me turn you around. How beautiful is that, right? So that's why I'm here. But yeah, it is definitely a beautiful place to be. Really, really happy to be here. I've got another 4 more weeks here. I head back to Bali with a few friends who are coming to visit, so I'm going to show them around. And then after that, we shall see. I'll keep you posted. But thank you for obviously listening to this. I hope some of this helps you, just getting some clarity of routine, training, food, and of course, start that business that you've been kind of throwing off, going, you know, one day, but one day isn't enough, you know, like, I mean, one day isn't enough. That doesn't make any sense. That someday might never come. So, you know, just take that first step now, however small it is right now, it might lead to something really big. All right. So the way I look at it is just dominoes. Put that first domino down and it will just lead to some big changes coming forward. So thank you again for listening. Please subscribe if you are looking forward to more content coming forward, drop me a comment below. I'll see if I can create for you. And but yeah, I appreciate you and have the best day.